For the next 2 weeks, it'll be home territory for the two manufacturers. First up, Audi sets foot on German soil here in Hockenheim. With this circuit having a reputation for chaotic races on this channel, anticipation is high this afternoon. Let's see who manages the chaos as we get ready to watch round 7 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Robert O'Brien, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. With 2 decades to settle in, Hockenheim's new layout has built its own history and lore. Let's head to our track guide to see what it holds for our competitors. Welcome to Hockenheim. Located just an hour away from the border of France, this is a German track whose nature has changed drastically over its history. Once an eye-watering blast through long straights in the forest, it has since been truncated to its current format. With 6 different layouts ranging between 2.5 and 4.5 kilometers containing 13 to 16 turns, depending on which you choose, it's got something for just about every level of racing. This means it would fit everything from club cars up to Formula One. And that's perhaps what it's most well known for. One of the regular hosts for the German Grand Prix, it has been the scene of multiple dramatic moments, some triumphant, some tragic. Its redesign in the early 2000s gave it a few well-placed overtaking spots. The Parabolica entrance can create a good sneak attack, but even if you don't get it done there, the huge run towards the tight and slow Spitz curve is the place most well known for overtakes. If neither of those work, on rare occasions, Mercedes Corner can see drivers manage to pass one another. While the straights certainly aren't as long as the old version, it still requires a good deal of top speed to be competitive. But driver beware. Throttle control can often make or break your lap on the latter half of the circuit. All in all, German race fans can be assured to find great action no matter your tastes in racing at this fantastic venue. Well, Adam, this is not exactly usually a multi-class track, but we've tried it here on the channel before. How's it going to go today?
Well, the Hockenheim Ring Baden-Württemberg is one of the most interesting motorsports layouts in the world, with 16 turns over 2.84 miles or 4.57 kilometers. This is only the second time the Kamel has visited this Hockenheim Ring, and the first time on this layout. Both Nissans and Audis will feel equally comfortable here, and the multi-class will enjoy the benefits of a very wide track surface everywhere but through Mobile 1 and Sachs Curve. The Nissans will be terrified of the serrated curve on the exit of Nord Curve and the entrance of the Parabolica and exit of Sachs can be hard places to put the traction down. The Audis will also struggle through Nord Curve due to their natural push, but the rest of the circuit should be relatively comfortable for them. The best place to pass for both classes, well, the obvious, down the Parabolica. Danger zones for the multi-class are Nord Curve, the entrance to the Parabolica, and the kink before the Mercedes Arena, as well as the S's following Sachs Curve. The circuit may not look like much, Joe, but it's surprisingly technical and would create an interesting race here today.
There's no doubt about that, but let's take a look at the championships as well. And both are kind of spreading apart, starting here with the prototypes. Ardo Iamaki with a full win's worth ahead of his fellow Finn, Antti Lepistö. Now, of course, the drop points will somewhat help that as the season goes on. From there on down, Laus Stolsen kind of on his own, and then a nice tight fight between Sintez Galindo and Fabian Jungbluth, who have swapped positions back and forth multiple times already in the points hunt. Let's take a look at the GTOs as well.
Absolutely. The GTO class, Yuko Leskola leads 46 points over Esko Letaniemi. Esko having a bad day last week at Mid-Ohio. Mark Olay, 20 points back of Esko. Little close. Has an opportunity to pass Esko if Esko has another bad day today. Jamie Hamill-Smith, not too far back, 13 points behind Mark Olay. Then it gets very tight. Villy Rolla finally makes his way onto the top 5 of the podium. And then we have Ian Haycox, who's down in 6. Unfortunately for him, we're not going to see Ian for the rest of the season. We'll talk about that a little later.
Indeed. And as we take a look at the race details, of course, up at the top, it is a 40-minute race, and this is actually round 7 that we are in. Apologies on that. It's an open setup series. They don't have a spare car to help them either. So if they do get damage out here in that multi-class traffic, well, you're going to have to duck into pit lane, try and get that repaired. Also, don't forget, a lot of paved runoffs since this is a modern F1 course. So they have a drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and a complete disqualification at 25. Better keep it within the track boundaries out there today, or else you will find yourself suffering later on. But right now, you don't have to suffer if you have a lack of a setup, because you need to make sure and check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more at majorsgarage.com. Or use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. We have a link in the description below that directly applies our special offer. Still waiting for the first times to be set out here today, and it is a very beautiful day out here in Germany right now. It's only 76 Fahrenheit on the track surface currently, so very cool and pleasant conditions both for fans and drivers.
Absolutely, Joe. It's a great time to race for sure. And this track looking very good right now. We're still haven't seen any of our times come in yet, but I've noticed this is a very large field, Joe. We've got upwards of 45 drivers out here today. I think we have 46 drivers here today, and a decent amount of new faces in both classes. And also, it's a pretty even split between each class too. So this is going to be a very interesting race for sure.
It will indeed. And before we get some of those times in, you mentioned Ian Haycox. Yeah, there's been some upsetting news for fans of this series, friends of Ian, and the Haycox family in general. He's been in an accident recently and unfortunately had to have one of his legs amputated. And he's been talking to both us and the community quite a bit, and has absolutely appreciated the support. In fact, he wanted me to let everybody know that he appreciates and expresses his deepest thanks for the support from the community, and it's touched him in an incredible way. So unfortunately not able to join us, as we were hoping that he would be able to, but we know that we're thinking about you, Ian, if you're out there watching, and we can't wait to see you back here soon, as the whole community is really pulling for you out there. In the meantime, looks like Ardo Iamaki is currently on the provisional pole up there in the prototypes, with Antti Lepisto still yet to set a time.
Absolutely. Ardo Iamaki putting in a decent time. He's got, like he said, about 0.15 hundredths over Robert Plumley, who has... We haven't seen Plumley in quite a while, Joe, so Plumley making his own return to the series. Looks like Franco Scurry is going to be a first to come across the line in the Audis, setting a decent time. He's going to actually bump Escaleta-Niemi at the moment and Jamie Hamill-Smith. So Franco, once again, his qualifyings, he's made some decent improvements, but Andre Schumacher pips him by 62 one-thousandths of a second for current pole.
Oof, it is tight there. But the man that we need to watch in that GTO class is the number 2 of Jukka Leskala, who has been dominating this season once again. And as he comes out of the south curve, let's see if this one's going to be decent for him. Sometimes has almost a whole second ahead of everybody else in qualifying, 36.3. And that is actually going to put him 1.2 seconds ahead of Andre Schumacher on the first lap. Rolla does get within that marker, down to 0.7, but still a huge distance.
I mean, it's unbelievable how fast Yuko has been, and no one has been able to challenge him. Unfortunately, I don't believe, Phil Lake is not here, so we're not going to really have a strong challenge to Jukka Leskala aside from Billy Rolla. So it's really the Glacier Racing Finns at the top of the mark right now. No one can really touch them.
And we missed this, but Robert Plumley has gone to the pole on his second lap, and it's Sanchez who joins him. In fact, the top 3 are split by 0.03 of a second right now. Ardo Iamaki just bumped off that front row, and Antti Lepisto will join him on row 2. So an all-finish second row so far here today. But what a shocker up at the front. Not 2 drivers that we frankly anticipated to be quick today.
No, not at all. It's amazing to see those 2 up there. Ardo Iamaki, like you said, down in 3rd position, but so tight for that pole position. Such a fantastic qualifying we've had right now.
Wow. So Well, Villarola still needs a second lap. Leskola needs his second lap. Schumacher got within still about 1.2 away from Leskola. In fact, he stays in third. So here comes the Finn. Down to the line, a 36.3 on this first time around. Second one, 36.2, 10th faster. Rolla is next to cross. And a 36.7 will not get him pole, but at least gets him within half a second. But it's starting to look pretty disappointing for the rest of the field in the GTOs already.
Absolutely interesting looking at Hideki Koibisto down in 7th position. Marty Olay in 8th as well. They're still running around setting their second lap times. But Franco Scurry, 4th position for him. A good qualifying over Mark Olay and Escaleta Niemi. So that's great for him in the Audis for sure. And seeing a lot of drivers all over the field. And quite a few drivers who have not set lap times either. Carlos Fonseca, Mika Tupola, Laust Olsen Show did not set a qualifying time. So quite a few drivers who did not set times today.
Yeah, Laust Steven got onto the chat and admitted this is going to be a tough day. Lepisto managed to get himself back into 4th once again with a 23.3 last time. And now that means that the top 4 are separated by just shy of 4/100ths of a second. Do we have anybody else able to set a time out here? I see Pelletier out on track, but I'm not sure if there's enough time left on the board for him. In fact, no, he's going to park it. Yeah, that means that that is pretty much everybody. So let's go through that starting grid for today. Robert Plumley. This might be his first pole here in the Kamel GT Series broadcast races. We'll have to double check on that stat. Xavier Sanchez will start from P2, and Ardo Iamaki is in 3rd. Ante Lepisto, P4 for him. Then it's Ove Trangrade in the 5th position. Xavier Mosquera, P6. He'll be flanked by Heitor Sintez Galindo in 7th, as we've got Jacob Leon P8. Then it's Isaac Snyder in 9th. Fabian Jungbluth, 10th place for him, followed by Gianluca Gabbiani in 11th. Luis Emerton, P12. He'll be followed by Richard Holt in 13th and Mike Ruder in 14th. From there, in 15th, it's Pablo Suarez. Doug Cloud follows him. You've got Romain Berlogi in 17th, Martin Krejcik in 18th, and Stefan Leslie in 19th. Top 20 rounded out by Pablo Costa. Last 2 to set times, Uno Lamas and Cam Porter. From then, they will be followed by Laust Olsen, Jack David Spickett, and Ethan Williamon.
We've got Yuka Leskola on pole for the GTOs, the Philly roll next to him. Andre Schumacher in 3rd position. Hideki Koibisto is going to line up in 4th with Franco Scurry in 5th. Mark Olay in the 6th position there. Then we have Escaleta Niemi in 7th spot with Marty Olay in 8th. 9th is going to go to Javier Del Olmo with Tomas Bartfai in the 10th position. And we got Lucas Marino in the 11th spot with Oren Laskin in 12th. Jamie Hamill-Smith in 13th position with Jonathan Razanahera in 14th. Nahul Diaz-Cavila is going to line up in the 15th position with Juan Lopez-Rapol in 16th spot. Then we have the drivers who did not qualify. Carlos Fonseca, Mika Tupola, Michael Kuzbrina. Then we have Cor Eindhoven and Eric Peltier lining up your 26-car Audi field and your 46-car field for the day.
It is going to be a packed track out there for our drivers, so let's hope everybody's got their wits about them, especially with what looks to be somewhere in the realm of 13 seconds between the two classes over the course of a lap. Looks like we have only one on board today, which is a bit surprising. Usually we get Isaac Snyder joining us, but looks like Laust Olsen is going to show us his view from charging, hopefully from the back of the grid here today. So we'll keep an eye out for him as the Porsche pace car takes off on a short pace lap. And well, as you mentioned, Adam, last time they cut out the Mercedes arena here. So let's see how that changes that. And there we see Laust on screen now.
Absolutely. Laust is going to have a lot to do today, but the GTPs are going to get this race going fairly quickly. The GTOs are going to be stuck in the back half of the course through this corner when the GTPs get going. So it's going to be a tight race for them as they go through the twistier bits on this green flag start.
Robert Plumley, I'm pretty darn certain he has not won a race in this series on the broadcast races. The pole position, as we said, is a bit of a question mark. We're trying to find out that, but Roberts takes off to the green flag here, and he gets a very good jump. However, behind him, Ardo Yamaki almost had the best of Sanchez down into turn 1. Looks like they're going to stay in order. Couple cars going wide. Not seeing any major incidents in the GTPs. Let's go to the Audis.
Franco Scurry and Andre Schumacher have both been wrecked out through the first section of the corner. We have also had Hideki Koivisto have a problem in the Audis. So once again, Juco Lesko and Philly Rolla off to the races, though, with Marco Lay quite a ways behind him. And there's a gigantic wreck in turn 1. That was Javier Del Olmo and Jonathan Razanahara, who just went straight on. So very, very dramatic start for the Audis.
You saw stopped at the side of the road Romain Belorgi and Pablo Suarez there at the start of the prototypes. We'll get back to that replay a little later on the GTOs. A bit messy here, unfortunately, as we see the top of the GTOs now hit the Spitzkara. A little bit of a lockup from Leskala, but thankfully nothing dire.
And Joe, I'll be honest, I've never seen a car as damaged as Franco Scurry's machine right now. That Audi is a complete rally machine. So once again, looking at the leaders in the GTOs, this is Juco Leskola and Ville Rolla. There is Franco Scurry. We're going to take a look at the replay here for his incident. And this is the aftermath of it, and you can see just how damaged he is. So Andre Schumacher gets a little bit of ghost contact. Franco tries to take advantage of it and ends up getting hooked here on the front straightaway. So Franco Scurry ends up with a very damaged machine.
Oh, and not in the direction that he wants it to go, and then it spits him back out on track. Does he get avoided?
Wow.
Somehow people make it by.
Phenomenal driving from everyone to get by him, but that was very close. Still very close for the lead in both classes. Robert Plumley very closely chased by Ardo Iamaki and Antti Lepisto. Xavier Sanchez, Aitor Sintes Galindo, and Javier Mosquera swapping positions behind for 6 and 7.
Yep, that'll give Sintes Galindo P5 coming through Spitzkara and down into Mercedes once again. Plumley ahead of Iamaki, but it's looking like Ardo, now that he has managed to get by Sanchez, has some speed in him, keeping him honest as they come towards the stadium section.
Mike Reuter's had a problem. He has been... he was given a little bit of a shove, actually, from Doug Cloud. And Louis Emerton just had an issue as well in the GTP, so quite a few drivers having issues even before we get into the multi-class action.
I'm seeing from Emerton just a little too much curb. He didn't hit anything, just came to a halt at the side of the track, lost positions, unfortunately. Still up at the front, Plumley leads up to 0.8 of a second over Iamaki, much stronger through that stadium section, it seems. Let's head back to the GTO lead, because Ville Rolla, despite not having the qualifying pace, is managing to put some pressure on the number 2.
Absolutely, and we saw this last week too, Joe, but remember that when the traffic came into play, Ville Rolla got pushed back by a couple seconds and couldn't make the gap back up. So it'll be interesting to see whether that happens again. I think Ville Rolla needs to make this pass on Juco Leskola before the rest of the GTPs get there. Otherwise, he's going to be in big trouble. We've had another Audi who's had a problem in the back of the field. I'll keep my eyes out for that. But wow, Rolla very wide through 1.
Cost him a few car lengths, but he's still in the hunt. We'll see how he does coming out of the Parabolica entry.
And lock up there from Juco.
Yeah, a lot better to the apex. We watch from on board, looking back at the Glacier number 4, and doesn't look like he's going to get enough of a tow as they start to pick up speed down the Parabolica itself.
Oh, Esco's had a problem.
Yeah, our second in the points goes off. He's already not been having the greatest today. In fact, he hasn't had a good day in some time.
And this was Oren Laskin. Oren Laskin absolutely sent it on him on the entry to the Parabolica and sent him around. And Robert Plumley's had a problem now.
So here's the replay first on the incident with Letaniemi. Already has a little damage, it seems, on the nose of the car. Not sure how he got that, but watch the blue and white machine behind him. Just coming in hot, and he turns in like normal, and then the 7 suddenly finds himself facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Now the 14 car, what happened with him? I completely
immediately following this, the 14 comes out of the final turn, just has a little bit too much on edge, catches the curbing on the outside, and you'll see him go around here.
all the way out into the AstroTurf. And
yeah, just got on the curb, and he was just right on the edge of traction, and the paint out there is not as grippy as the asphalt, and he goes around. He's all the way back to 11th now, Joe.
And this was a great opportunity for a potential win for him, but no longer unless we get even more wildness out there. Speaking of which, well, they're actually approaching lap traffic up at the front. It is Iamaki and Lepisto, our 2 points leaders in the GTPs that are back up to the top. And Iamaki is getting comfortable again in these positions because he finally had his first win since round 2 back at Mid-Ohio last week.
Absolutely. It's great to see these two at the front of the field. Ardo Iamaki used to be a midfield runner back when I ran Kamel about 2 years ago. So to see the improvement that Ardo has made over the years to become a top runner in the points and a top runner on winning races, I mean, talk about improvement, and that just goes to show that if you stick with it, if you stick with the discipline, you can absolutely make good improvements. We just saw Jonathan Razanahera just took a toe, as well as Eric Peltier. So quite a few drivers in the Audis who don't have a lot of experience, unfortunately, or seem to be falling afoul of some issues here.
Also, remember, we were talking about Laust Olsen not having a good qualifying or any qualifying. Well, he's managed already to get up to 14th, and he's still in a bit of a fight right now. As you can see, Martin Krejcik trying to poke up the inside, coming into the Spitzkehrer. It gives him space at the apex, and now it's going to be a game of the throttle, which goes to Laust Olsen. So solidly into 15th, or 14th rather, at this point.
Yeah, Lewis Emerton actually just had an incident with Unai Lamas and Jack David Spickett. Oh, and Laust Olsen goes wide there, and that's going to make him very susceptible to Krejcik, who has to back off. Now it's a three-way fight.
Pablo Costa, the third in line there, you see in the 33, coming up to the stadium section. Nobody able to find a way past through that part. And so they watch this trio into the Sachs curve. It is now Krejcik going from attack to defense. We're only less than 10 minutes into this race. We certainly have had plenty of twists and turns.
Absolutely, and the leaders are catching the traffic now too, Joe. Andy Lepisto just got majorly caught out by Andre Schumacher, who's trying to recover. Here's Jamie Himmel-Smith also on a recovery drive. We're looking at Andy Lepisto and Xavier Sanchez, and behind them, even more traffic causing issues. So absolutely, traffic's going to be the name of the game, and we're just about to start seeing it here. Our leaders about to catch up to the first battle, which is for 7th, between Oren Laskin, Mika Tupela, Carlos Fonseca, and Mikel Cusabrino.
And everybody going multiple wide down through. Jamie Himmel-Smith stays out of the way, and that compromises Mosquera. So he is going to be able to eventually get by, but held up slightly as a train of prototypes just fly into the arena section. And I think, is Plumley in this group? Yeah, he's just about at the tail of it as we head back up to Iamaki. And, ooh, this is a bad spot to catch all these guys.
It's the worst spot to catch all these guys. He's going to have to get held up here behind Mika Tupela. He's making his way past Tupela. That was really close. Now twisting his way. He's going to have to find a way past Lasky. He's going to try to the outside. Oh, that's not going to work.
Thankfully, gets on the binders in time. This is costing him a bit, but Lepisto's struggling with the same thing back there. And he's got Sanchez hot on his heels. Up into turn 1, Lepisto has to make a dive, but Sanchez has to back out. Now Sintez Galindo gets a good shot at things. He's on the rear wing of the number 3, dives to the inside, coming down to the parabolic entry. Can he get the track? He does, but he can't get the shot off the corner.
No, he doesn't. Javier Mosquera looking on behind him. Look at these guys absolutely fight it out. These onboards are phenomenal as we're watching these guys dig around here. Such tight racing.
Whew. And they finally spread apart just a little bit and breaking down into the Spitzkehrer. Thankfully, no traffic this time for this group. As this has been happening, we can't forget the battle in the GTOs. Oh, Robert Plumley with another issue.
This one's a blown engine. He blew his engine. He downshifted too far going into the Spitzkehrer.
It just compiles for the 14. Watch for the smoke here. There it goes. When the smoke leaves the car in that fashion, that is lights out. So day over for Robert Plumley. Not even a top 20 here today for him.
All right, let's listen to this one. He's going to come up to the braking point. He's going to see a bunch of traffic ahead of him, just go down the H pattern, and There she goes.
Yep, the tack never returns to the top, unfortunately. Can we check on Marco Lay and Martiali in third in the GTOs? Because this has been a close fight, and right now they have quite a mess that is trying to overtake them. You're watching from on board Marty, and eventually they'll be left alone. But man, it's like trying to have a discussion as a freight train goes through the lane behind them.
Ove train grades around off the nose of Jacob Leone. He gets hit by Fabian Jungbluth.
Oh. Jungbluth just absolutely T-boned him. We're going to take a replay of this one.
Yeah, this is just everyone getting held up. We're looking on board with Jungbluth as he approaches the incident and nowhere to go. There's nothing he can do there.
Yeah, that was train grade that he ran into. Got tipped around by other cars. And I think some of that was prefaced by the traffic even, as drivers in front and the Audis just a little bit slow, which is expected through the corners. Yeah,
check just up. Held up, yeah, and then gets hit from the behind. Yeah, so it's just a accordion effect, Joe. There's not much you can do there, and then whammo, Fabian. But our leaders in the GTPs are just passing our leaders in the GTOs. Billy Roll has fallen behind Yuka Leskala by about a second and a half, and the battle between Ardo and Antti just got separated a little bit. But Ardo has to wait for Yuko to go through turn one, so that'll close Antti back up to him.
Yep, he was right on top of him before, though, coming through the south curve, and Sanchez is not interested in letting them go. He sent one in deep going by Yuko Leskala. It's like Fabian Jungbluth having to head to the pits to repair the damage that he got from that one. I also see Tomas Bartfai heading in for a separate incident. So this has already claimed a number of victims out here in Germany. Coming down into the corner, sending it a little deep there, Lepisto. And Sanchez is liking that.
This is actually a 5-car battle for the lead of this race right now. We usually don't see that in the GTPs by the time they cut through the entire Audi field. So these guys have absolutely cut through with impunity and are now trying to approach each other and have their own battle while they have about half of the length of the track to themselves.
There you see the battle for the lead. Ooh,
that's Cor Eindhoven on the inside, who's having his own troubles this race, and that's absolutely brought them all together.
Whew, thankfully, everybody gets through. Once again, out of the stadium section, your top 5 split by barely 2 seconds crossing the line. A little bit of a weave down the front stretch from Iamaki, trying to break the slipstream to Lepisto behind him. We're watching from Sintez Galindo's perspective, 4th in line on this train.
Eindhoven probably named after the city in the Netherlands right now, but we're watching on board with Galindo as he's trying to track his way towards the front. Interesting to note, Laust Olsen, remember how we mentioned he was up to 11th position? He's now up to 8th position and only 18 seconds behind this battle. So he's done a lot of work to move his way up forward.
Oh, and Richard Holt had an issue behind.
Yeah, he already had some front-end damage, and the downforce just didn't hold him as he went through turn 1. So he's had his own issue and is now trying to get back to the pits, but it's going to be a long way.
So will we see anything this time coming up into the Sachs curve amongst these 5? Sintez Galindo not close enough to my eyes. And as they all hit the binders, getting close to the halfway point soon, about 5 more minutes, and at least they have that relief out here. But we predicted a little bit of chaos, and it seems like we are certainly getting it here in the Kamel GT series.
How has it already been 15 minutes? This race has flown by right now. These guys are absolutely duking it out at the front of the field. Interestingly, I think they're all waiting for the second time they go through the Audis, but they got another half of the track to go, so they've got some time to battle here.
Oh, Mika Tupola, though. Excuse me, that's Caviglia that they're going by. He's stolen the traditional yellow that we're used to seeing Tupola sport, and that confused me for a moment. Thankfully, easily passed.
Absolutely. Another battle that's going on right now as we watch these guys is the battle for third and fourth between Mark Olay and Marty Ollie in the GTOs. These two guys in similar paint schemes are going to have to ask them which pronunciation of their last name is correct, because I'm pretty sure they're either teammates or they're related, and I can't decide. That was Stefan Leslie who just spun out right in front of them, and he's going to go to the pits after that wreck.
Yeah, must have actually hit something, or he just had enough of today and decided to bring it home. Meanwhile, coming down the Parabolica.
Oi, Core, what are you doing, man?
Oh, and that is Olay hitting the back of him as Core Eindhoven was trying to get out of the way, and that's the last thing you want to do in lap traffic.
You don't get out of the way. You drive your line. You let the other guys go around you. Oy vey, that was close between Cam Porter and Mark Olay.
Olay does manage to get through there, but that is a perfect visual example of what we always talk about there, Adam, is the difference in acceleration off of slow corners.
Absolutely. The Audis can absolutely fly off of the slow corners versus the GTVs that take quite a bit of time to get themselves going. So that's where we see the challenge. That was Core Eindhoven who actually did the cut through, so he's going to have to pay a time penalty, and I believe Core is actually going to be parking.
It does appear to be the case. Still another car in the mirrors of Ollie as Louis Emerton approaches from behind and is waiting very, very patiently, I must say. And one of the trickier spots to try and overtake lapped Audis. Onto the front stretch, he should finally have a clearing. Will we see him go off to the right? Yep, there he goes. And then the second one just sneaks through in time. They have compromised Olay a little bit. They got another one, Jack David Spickett, along to the right-hand side, braking hard down into the Parabolica entry, and once again, that compromises Mark Olay, and this time, Ollie has a much better slipstream.
Yeah, much better slipstream, but he couldn't get the power down off the corner. I can't tell whether or not he might be using the auto blip shifter, and that really slows you down in the Audi to the tune of a couple of tenths a second per lap, so that can really affect... Oh, no!
Oh, and both of them coming together, and unfortunately, they're both going to come to a halt. Lucas Marino is able to take advantage of it. He gets promoted to third from that.
Unbelievable.
And similarly liveried cars wind up in a similar situation off the Spitzkara.
Yeah, so this was Mark Olay up ahead, who just thought that the GTP was going to go faster through the corner. Ends up hitting the back of the number 6 of Fabian Jungbluth, and then Marty Ollie thought that they were both going to recover, ends up getting into the back of Mark Olay, and then even more contact from the other GTO behind them. Oh man, just
I think that
huge
was
misery of incidents.
I think that was Bart Fye that made that contact.
So and we got to get back live soon, though, because the leading GTP pack is cutting through the Audis again.
Yeah, and that has held up Lepisto a lot more than Yamaki trying to go by the car of Zubrina. All three of them managed to get around, but look at how tight this has caused it to be between Lepisto Sanchez and Sintez Galindo.
Absolutely. Jamie Hamill-Smith has just had a wreck, so he's now out of it. We'll get to our DNFs at some point, but my goodness, it is complete chaos. We're riding on board right now with Xavier Sanchez, who's got Heitor Sintez Galindo right up his tailpipe, and look at this. Angelo Lepisto having to back off because of an Audi. This is going to be a good opportunity for Xavier.
Has to look to the outside, though, as Lepisto goes defensive, doesn't break his deep. Sanchez chucking it into the corner. Can he get the exit speed? He does, but now he will hand the slipstream over to Lepisto. If he'll get in line, now he does, right in the tire tracks.
Galindo's got to run. Here we go. It's going to be 3 wide going into the braking zone.
Wow, so Sintez Galindo just sends it in on a hope and a prayer. And is that enough? It almost looks like it is, but he can't quite get the traction down compared to Xavier. And he almost gets boxed in as they go by another of our lapped Audis.
And now we've got Oren Laskin to worry about. Oren gets out of the way of these guys because Xavier was absolutely going to come up the inside anyway, regardless of what he did. So now it's between Galindo and Sanchez as they power their way out. This is for second and third now.
And remember, Sanchez qualified in second, so He's basically back to where his pace maybe should have put him, but Sintez Galindo going to try and deny him that spot. This has all been a boon for the number 5. Ardo Yamaki is a full 3 seconds ahead.
Fantastic driving from everybody right now. This is such intense stuff from this lead pack in the GTPs. You can see that was Zabir getting held up just a little bit off the final corner. That brings Sintez Galindo back into it. They're both going to go smoking through the first turn here, Nord Curve, as they both go off track. Galindo a little bit more conservative than Sanchez, who decided to take the X and take the pace advantage and make sure he got past Marty Ollie before they get going onto the Parabolica. Here we go again.
All right, that's going to separate them briefly. Also, just an update. The GTOs do still have a leader, but Leskala is about 1.3 seconds ahead of Rolla. It's been sort of a non-race between the pair, despite lots of traffic, and hasn't given an opportunity to Vili quite yet. He's been about the only one that's been keeping Yuko honest this season.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, Vili Rolla's been keeping Yuko as honest as he can be. If Yuko makes a mistake, Vili Rolla will absolutely be the winner of one of these races, but it's going to come at a very difficult point for them. I can report that Louis Emerton just overtook a damaged Doug Cloud for the 12th position in the GTPs, and also Joe Galindo's starting to close in behind Sanchez. Here we go, looking at that battle.
This is starting to heat up to try and decide the last step on the podium. By the way, you talked about getting to the DNFs. If I'm seeing correctly, we only have about 33 cars still running out of 45 starters in roughly 22 minutes. It has been a bloodbath today.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and seeing 11 official DNFs from this race. We have 2 drivers in further back of the field who took repairs that are still running. That's Jonathan Razanahara and Roman Valorgi. And looks like Javier Del Olmo just got back out on track, so that brings it down to 10. But still, that's a decent amount of attrition. These guys still putting on a good show today. And Ardo Yamaki, Zabir Sanchez, and Aitor Sintez Galindo about to catch up to our GTO leaders in about a quarter lapse time.
Coming out onto the back stretch out of the Spitzker. We continue to watch from over the shoulder of Sintez Galindo. And he's just been making sure that Sanchez has to keep looking over his shoulder every corner, making sure that Aitor is not able to send one in, just hovering around that rear wing. 18 minutes left on the clock. An update for fans of Laust Olsen as well. Still sitting in 8th position. He's had a much wider gap to go from here to get to Gabion. It's about, actually, was there an issue? No, there was not. Excuse me. I think flat traffic. Olsen lost a little bit of time. It's up to 11.5 seconds now to get to Gabion. Let's check in on his webcam, actually, while we've got him here.
Yeah, I think Olsen is doing the best that he can right now, Joe. It's not going to be the race that he wanted, but considering the fact that he started off from the back of the pack, I think he'll be happy with whatever he gets within the top 10, especially considering the chaos we had at the beginning of the race. But navigating some lap traffic right there is Laust Olsen, and stoic as always on the cam.
And you can tell he's not in as intensive a race. The pucker factor is not showing up quite yet. So maybe if he gets into the top 5, we'll start to see it appear once again. Something happened to Yamaki. Yamaki is off. Sanchez is into the lead. This was in the Spitzkara.
This was contact from behind. This was a completely missed braking option from Juan Lopez Ripoll.
Well, it looks like he touched the grass, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did. He touched the grass. He got a little bit squirrely, just a little bit too much rear brake bias. The car starts to swap ends on him. He tries to chase it, gets out into the grass, and gets hit.
I'm trying to see if he was already out braking himself and was trying to take to the grass.
A little bit, but I think the grass is what really did him in right there.
Yeah, you're right. That's all she wrote right there.
Oh my goodness.
No
That's a significant
that
amount of rear wing damage. And oh my goodness, the battle for the lead. Absolutely hot right now, side by side as they head towards Nord Curve.
Oh, Oh, going around the outside. What a defense from Sanchez to keep Sintez Galindo behind. Chopped down and just left enough space. And actually, this allows Ardo Iamaki to catch up a little bit. But as you said, there's severe damage on the diffuser of that car. I can't imagine it's going to be quick in a straight line.
Can we get a replay of that? Because you can't get closer than that in a GTP to making contact with that rear wing. Let's take a look at this. Here we go.
My goodness, he even opens up the entry at the last second, and that's the leader in the GTOs. So he had to time that one absolutely perfectly. Unbelievable defense there, and great trust in his competitors. Sintez Galindo just hanging off the edge of him. Speaking of which, Iamaki, well, I thought he would have been damaged in terms of pace or speed or something, but it doesn't look to be the case. He is not letting anything slow him down.
Absolutely not. He's chucking himself into the corners now to try and maintain that speed that the downforce has taken away from him. So he's doing a great job of trying to keep up with these guys. He's using the mechanical grip to his advantage now.
So this is making it a four-way fight now for the lead because Lepisto's still hanging in there. Also, I can report that Rolla has briefly caught up. I think he's... Oh, wow. Oh, actually, looks like Leskala got held up through the south curve, and it's now down to half a second.
Yeah, actually, they've been this close for about a lap now. When we were watching that battle through turn one in the GTPs, I was about to comment on the fact that Rolla has brought it down to half a second, and here he is within half a second again. So this is on raw pace, not just traffic, Joe. So Rolla really starting to bring it in here in the final 13 minutes of this race.
This is bad news for Leska. We've seen now that the traffic means you really can't bank on almost any gap here in the Kamel GT series. If you're within 3 seconds of the car behind, things can easily go awry, and it is completely not your fault. Down into the Spitzkara. Just a little lockup once again. We've been seeing a lot of that recently in slow corners from the Audi.
Yeah, especially from Yuko. Yuko has decided that those front tires don't really mean that much when it comes to traction in the Audi, and I gotta agree with him. Front tires just end up seeming like a little bit of skid blocks most of the time when you drive that thing. But Yuko Leskala definitely locking up the inside tire, the inside front tire when he goes into the braking zones. I'm surprised that he doesn't knock the brake bias back a little bit. We got Laust Olsen making a pass up the inside here of Frollo. There he goes. And he's going to separate this battle a little bit here because he's going to be stuck behind Yuko through this next section.
And he still hasn't made up much time on Gabbiani in front of him. So I wonder if he's just trying not to interrupt things, make sure that he can bring it home at least with this 8th place finish. And he doesn't disrupt it too badly, but it is a couple tenths more than we saw before. Now they've got Fabian Jungbluth also not in a fight with Laust Olsen there, so it's not a chase for position. Just placing his car quite nicely between them and then lets them continue on their fight. 12 minutes now left to go.
Absolutely 12 minutes left to go in this race as Javier Sanchez leads, but just barely as they try and navigate through a pass at GT. Joe, that's really close there. And Galindo almost tries to make it around the outside, but snaps on him.
And thankfully, everybody avoids Aitor in that situation. Holy cow.
He almost had the move done, Joe.
That was ambitious stuff. He saw it coming, and he placed himself perfectly.
It was Michael Kuzbrina, who was just racing his own race and gets split by these two GTPs. Galindo late brakes and makes it around the outside, but it gets on the outside curb of the AstroTurf, and the rear tires just spin on him. And look at this, Zabir taking avoiding action. Such great racing from this lead pack of the GTPs today.
Situational awareness right there. I don't know if he has a 3-screen setup or a VR or something, but I'm really thankful that he was able to see that coming and just weave off to the left in time. So Sanchez lives to fight another day, still barely holding on to this lead by his fingertips, despite some faster cars behind him.
Speaking of barely holding on to his lead by his fingertips, Yuko Leskola right now down to 4/10 with Vili Rolla. Martin Kratrick's actually going to take the line away from Yuko into turn one, so Yuko has to brake a little bit more, gives an opportunity for Rolla to try and carry more speed. He can't quite do it through turn one, but while this lead battle in the GTP has separated, the lead battle in the GTO has closed. They're now trying to make their way past Nahul Diaz Kavila, who ends up holding up Yuko a little bit. This is Vili's best opportunity he's had all race.
And Leskola has only failed to win one race so far this season. Is this going to be his next one? Looking for it. Here comes Rolla. He knows he's not going to get many chances to try and take the lead away from Yuko. Down into the corner. He holds the inside. Both of them locking up and taking these cars to their limit, but it is still going to be Leskola leading the way.
Fantastic driving from both drivers. Yuko Leskola doing exactly what he needed to do. Hold that outside. Make sure that Vili didn't get the overlap on him. Vili could power out of the corner. Now Yuko goes a little bit deep this time onto the AstroTurf. Vili's going to have to go around the outside. This usually doesn't work, but Yuko takes the inside curve just a little bit too much. Now they're side by side as they head towards Mercedes.
Got the inside. Does Leskola send it deep? Yes, he does. He knows he's going to have to force Rolla a little bit wide, but he leaves him space. Rolla gets the inside, coming down to the Sachs curb, but he's timid on the brakes, and almost a Vettel situation there with Yuko Leskola taking it deep, but somehow he holds on, and they carry on this side-by-side battle. Now into the south curve, and around, still on the inside. Yuko Leskola will not give way.
Here they come on to the front straightaway towards Nordkurve. Someone's going to have to give here. You can't go through this thing too wide, and Yuko finally gives up the ghost and lets Vili go through, but Vili takes it a little bit too deep. Yusko's got another opportunity towards the entrance of the Parabolica.
This battle will not quit. Down to the Parabolica entry. He's got the inside one more time. Will the throttle pedal make the difference here coming off the corner? It does seem to for Vili Rolla. He briefly has a nose ahead, but now momentum goes back to Yuko Leskola. It's the long way around the Parabolica, but it'll be the inside coming down into the Spitzkara. This has been an incredible battle. They've now practically gone a full lap side by side here. Down into the corner and smoking the tires once again. Leskola somehow manages to make that shallow line work. He'll have the inside for the Kink, but the outside for Mercedes, looking for the braking zone. Both of them are just at the limit here today. And on the inside, getting pinched down, a little bit of ghost contact between them. Leskola somehow gets away with it, and out of the corner, Leskola is back to the lead.
Absolutely. Now Vili Rolla's got a little bit of a draft. He's going to have to try and find a way around. There is a way to pass here through the corner if you can hold it, but Vili gets into the turtle, and that's going to break up the battle.
That took a while to settle out, but I think they finally have it sorted. Behind them, Heitor Sintes Galindo and Ardo Iamaki going side by side through the Spitzkara has sorted towards Galindo, but he's going to get boxed in. Whoa! Can he make the corner? No! Iamaki is way too deep. Somehow he's still in, but now he makes contact. Sends Martiali almost around, keeps his foot in it. Somehow the four-wheel drive keeps that Audi on the track.
Holy smokes, let's look at this one. So this was a deep dive from Ardo Iamaki into the corner as he was challenging Galindo. These two have been duking it out for about half a lap. Ardo Iamaki, watch him send it deep up the inside here, and that's Ollie, who's just has to dive out of the corner because the GTP's coming. Here he comes. Ardo absolutely blows the corner and then comes back onto track and ends up getting into the back of Ollie. Then we have Ollie, who almost gets into Sintes Galindo as Galindo sneaks by. Let's watch this.
Yep, he's going to just be able to get around that.
Watch how close
car.
This
is. Wow. Unbelievable stuff. And then they almost hit each other a second time. Well, much like Donald Duck, I think the red mist is down for Ardo Iamaki, but it has not been helping him out. He falls back to fourth.
Absolutely, and the lead in the GTO has now closed up again a little bit. Vili Rolla within that half a second. He's going to have to hope that Yuko makes another mistake. Remember, Yuko's been burning up his tires, so has Vili. Both of them burning up their tires in this battle with each other. So it's whoever has the most tire life. Xavier Sanchez in the lead of the GTPs has about a second and a half to 2 seconds over Anti Lapisto, so that battle unfortunately broken up at the moment.
Here's the thing, though. It's just these two that need to worry about this battle. In spite of all this, they are
going to happen
30...
again? No, okay. Louis Emerton gave Yuko the corner there.
They are 33 seconds ahead of Marino in third place. That is just unbelievable.
And oh no, Yuko Leskola! Is he going to spin this thing? He drifts it through the edges of the parabolic contact between the two of them, Vili Rola and Yuko Leskola. Oh my goodness, Yuko and Vili, both of them with major loose scenarios under braking right now.
Things getting physical now between the two drivers. Still 5 minutes left to go. Are they actually going to see the finish the way this is starting to shape up?
It's going to be close between them. Joe, I really think the two of them are having the time of their lives right now, duking it out. I mean, going a full lap side by side next to another driver, you don't get to do that often in iRacing. You don't get to do that often in any racing. These two guys having a great day right now. Yuko Leskola locking up the inside left again, trying to make that turn work. Vili Rola, you can see just how loose both of them are. They're trying to chase these cars out to the outside of the track. There you see Roman Balorki coming through and cutting off Yuko Leskola just a little bit. Vili Rola trying to take advantage, but can't quite do it.
Coming out of the Sachs curve now. Oh, I think Rola has just a little bit more tire because he gained a lot there through that banked left-hand hairpin onto the front stretch. Let's see if they get any sort of run out of the north curve, the first corner. They're being approached by Xavier Sanchez as well. He's got about 2.5 seconds, so he's got a buffer, but he doesn't want to wait too long sitting behind them.
He won't have to. He'll be able to pass them before they get to the entrance of the parabolic here. So there he goes by, and that's actually going to hold up Yuko Leskola on exit, though, because he clips the inside curve, so it wasn't super relevant. But Vili Rola, once again, with a good opportunity down the parabolica.
He's going to feel that draft as the blue and white number 2 cuts the air in front of him. Here he goes.
3.5 minutes, here we go.
Down to the inside. This is how it all started last time. And behind them, poor Lepisto. He has to sit and wait behind his fellow countrymen. He's got no place to go. Almost contact between them once again.
That was everything on the right side locked up for Yuko Leskola, and he still made the corner. Lepisto sneaking by, and now they've got Jack David Spickett who's going to break this. Oh, Yuko takes it way deep this time. Vili Rola's going to be able to close that gap back up again as Yuko Leskola has to brake for Spickett.
Those tires are junk. Leskola does not look like he has grip anymore, and Rola is trying desperately to take advantage of it. But man, the experience that Leskola has garnered in this series since he first started showing up has been immense, and it's just almost impossible to get by him.
No, Yuko Leskola is one of the hardest drivers to pass on the service. I will say that hands down. Vili Rola has done the best that he can, but Yuko Leskola knows just how far to push that car before it absolutely breaks from underneath him, and he's been able to do that. Is Artem Iamaki going to take this corner away from Yuko Leskola? No, he brakes and lets Yuko take the corner, so that gives advantage to Yuko Leskola as Rola had to hold up a little bit through turn 1. And we got Cam Porter who's going to outbrake Rola up the inside. This is going to hold Rola up on the exit of the entrance of the parabolica.
Yeah, quick note on the championship implications there for Iamaki. Lepisto beating him is the last thing he needs. His only real relief is that Lepisto is only going to get 22 points instead of a full 25 if he finishes in that second place. But even still, that is going to be 4 more points than Iamaki will get. Getting in, and Gabbiani and Mosquera going to go side by side, and Leskola, something's happened to him. He is slow on the inside. Is it a misshift?
Misshift, it is!
Oh!
First he locked it up going into the corner, then he couldn't find first gear. We're going to listen to it on board with Yuko.
Down into the corner. This should be on the exit here.
So he locks up right here, and they can't get into gear.
It's already rotating. Whoa. Wow, what a catch.
Yeah, he can't find the gear. He can't find first. He has to let the revs go all the way down to the bottom because he was so slow.
Rola's finally found an opportunity, and at a critical time because Sanchez just took the white flag. It is 1 to go. And now Vili has a gap of about 3.1 seconds. Well, it was at 3.1. It's come down to 2.8 already. Leskola is on it.
But Xavier Sanchez He did exactly what he needed to do today. He worked his way through that 5-car battle for the lead to try and take this position, and he's just worked the traffic ever since. He's been so strong at the front of this field. Oh, look at this. Hideki Koivisto under pressure right now. This is actually Hideki Koivisto putting pressure on Mika Tupola for 7th.
Tupola is another one who has improved a lot as he locks him up as well. But looks like he is going to hold the advantage for now. They're actually almost going to lose another lap in the background. There he is. Sanchez coming up to them. There might be just enough spaces. Something's happened to Gabbiani. We'll have to go back to that in a little bit. But for now, this is going to be close. This could decide this battle between Koivisto and Tupola for 7th in the GTOs unless Sanchez decides to play patient. He's got 2 seconds behind him to that blue number 1, and he's not going to overtake him, it seems, as he comes to the line. Xavier Sanchez is your winner, your 3rd different one of the season here today.
Absolutely a great finish for Sanchez, but Villi Rolla, I mean, you gotta be honest with you. Antilopisto coming home in 2nd, Heitor Sintes Galindo in 3rd. But Villi Rolla, I told you it was going to take a mistake to beat Jukka Leskala. And Jukka Leskala, unfortunately, making that mistake into the Spitzkehre. And now Villi Rolla able to take advantage of that and snake his way forward here into his first win of the season.
That was an earned win if I ever saw one. Rolla tried everything he could, and it may have taken a little luck to finally get it into his hands, but he was not letting it go. That's going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Hockenheim. This was definitely the race of the season that we just watched here in the Kamel GT series. Xavier Sanchez got himself a win and proved that his qualifying was not a fluke to put himself on the front row. He held off Antti Lepisto, who took P2, and Heitor Sintez Galindo, who finished in third. Ardo Iamaki, unfortunately, only able to get fourth. A little bit of damage probably didn't help that with Xavier Mosquera in fifth. Isaac Snyder, sixth place for him today, as Gianluca Gabbiani finished seventh, and Laus Dolson, as we predicted, only able to get up to eighth in the end, but still without a qualifying time. That's good damage limitation for him. Pablo Costa was ninth, as Luis Emerton rounds out the top 10. After that, it is Martin Krejcik in 11th, Jack Spickett in 12th, first car lap down, Cam Porter 13th, and Fabian Jungbluth P14. Richard Holt was the last of the drivers able to finish amongst our GTPs, and it was a slew of DNFs behind him.
Then we got Vili Rolla, who won the race in the GTO class after a rare mistake from Yuko Leskala, who couldn't find first in that gearbox, who comes home in second. Lucas Marino, a full 30 seconds behind in third position, with Marty Ollie coming home in fourth ahead of Mark Ole in fifth after they had their own wreck in the Spitzkara. Or Laskin. We didn't talk a lot about him, but he did come home in the sixth position today with Mika Tupola beating out Hideki Koivisto for seventh and eighth. We got Carlos Fonseca in ninth position with Michael Chusbrina in the 10th position. Juan Lopez Rapol comes home in 11th with Tomas Bartfai in 12th position. Then Nahul Diaz Cavila comes home in the 13th spot. The rest of the drivers had major problems or DNF'd, including Andre Schumacher, Jonathan Razanahara, Javier Del Olmo, and Jamie Hamill-Smith.
Everybody's so tired from all that hard racing that we don't have anybody to talk to us quite yet, so we'll hold station for just a moment. Oh, as soon as I say that, we get Heitor Sintez Galindo, third place from the GTPs, ready to talk to us. So up from seventh on the grid, a nice run from him. A brief glimpse at a potential win here today, Heitor, but talk to us about that battle up at the lead with U4, because that looked incredible from the outside. What was it like on the inside of the cockpit?
Check. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, now we have you.
Okay. So yeah, it was let's say it was exciting battle with Antti and Xavier. First of all, congratulations to him. His first broadcast win. Forgive me if I'm kind of slow today because I'm still recovering. you will forgive me for that. But yeah, nevertheless, it was such a wonderful battle between us. Try to pull the best moves I could have, but that little mistake, let's say, on the Mercedes corner, it was like I couldn't believe what just happened. I was like, yes, I pulled that move, but then, oh no, I'm facing the wrong way. It was like, oh no. But nevertheless, it was still fun. I feel sort of gutted because I was feeling like I could have won. I could have won in this race, but Xavier, Antti, and did less mistakes than me, and that's why they came on top.
Yeah, and let's talk about towards the end of the race. We just saw in the replay your moment battling with Ardo Iamaki, and you nearly got taken out by a GTO. We're going to watch it one more time. How aware were you of this situation that you almost had your race ended? Have you even had a chance to go back and see?
Didn't have the chance to see while I'm looking at it right now. Whoa, that was really close. I knew it was close, but didn't know it was that close. Yeah, it's whenever I brake, sometimes I'll look a little glimpse in the mirror just in time, because after all, Arthur was close. It was like maybe try to make the move, but I was like, maybe he's getting bigger too quickly, so I just pull off and see what happens. And yeah, it was he braked himself too hard, but yeah, it was one of the many incidents I had. Many highlights, I should say, today. And yeah, nice for him and everybody.
Yeah, I think you should be proud of that race, even if it wasn't a win. Is there anybody that you want to thank for today?
Yeah, of course. You guys at GSRC, obviously, very really good broadcast all along, from Lotus 49 today, and today Kamel as well. My family, mom and dad, who are watching this stream, they must feel really proud of me today. And yeah, and Xavier, of course, for his first broadcast win, and that's it, I think.
That was Heitor Santez Galindo, our third place finisher here today. Behind him down the road is a man that made life a little hard for himself. Adam's caught up with Laust Olsen.
Yeah, Laust, not the qualifying you're hoping for sure, but oh my goodness, did you claw your way through the field, and it didn't look like it was easy or uneventful.
No, that was quite a race. Yeah, I ruined it for myself during qualify. I had an off track on both laps. The last one, I was on a pretty good lap, but second last corner, I hit the inside curb and was tossed out of the track. So that was it. I think I got lucky also. A lot of other people catching problems, so I think I gained many spots that way too. But I had some good racing also with Martin and Pablo Costa, I think. So it was quite fun.
Absolutely 10 GTP DNFs today, so a lot of people having issues for sure. But talk to me about traffic, because around here at Hockenheim, there's a lot of decently high-speed corners and a lot of hairpins where the Audis have better acceleration out of the corners than you guys. How hard is it to navigate traffic around here when the car that has the advantage seems to be switching almost on a corner-by-corner basis?
It's pretty hard. Especially judging the speed through the quicker corners and not being caught up and hitting them from behind. That it almost, I think, the first time we started lapping the cars, I was quite lucky, I think, because I hadn't seen the GTO in front of Martin and myself, and then I came too quick into turn one, and Martin went to the inside, and then suddenly there was a GTO, and I had to go off track to not ram into him. But luckily it went okay. So otherwise, I think it was, for me, pretty okay. Even though I wasn't as patient as I should have been at times. But I think that's from starting down behind, I got a little impatient, I think.
Well, very understandable for sure, and a great race today. But next week we head to the home country of the Nissan and race at Yokoyama. What are your thoughts heading into that very unique track?
It's not one of my favorite tracks. Really not sure why. Probably because I'm not that quick at that track, or haven't been in the past. Because otherwise it's except for the slow hairpins, it's actually quite fun. But a couple of hairpins that are quite annoying.
Well, congratulations on a top 10 today, Laust. I know you earned it from starting from the back of the field. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just you guys for the great broadcast you do, and the Kamel GT community, and all the good racing. I'm happy to get here. So yeah, that's it.
Well, fantastic to talk to you again. Thanks for putting your cam on and letting us see you drive around the track as well. And we look forward to seeing you next week at Yokoyama.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Laust Olsen, who finished in 8th position in the GTPs. Back to you, Joe.
That's going to wrap us up for today's show. But before we go, we, of course, want to thank our sponsor once again, Majors Garage. Make sure and check out the link below. We have a discount code, Majors GSRC, that gives you 10% off. If you click that link, it automatically applies it. Also, thanks to the Kamel community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Rob, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. There's a link in the description below for that as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race is going to be Okayama, Saturday, February 5th at noon Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Enjoy your Daytona 24-hour weekend. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.